Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the High Velocity Racing Network. We are following some more coverage here of our truck series on Sunday nights. As you all may know, we are on the last and final race of our truck season in season two. It's been an absolute blast to be a part of. It's been a blast to call, and it all kind of comes down to this. I mean, the season winner is already kind of confirmed, but one final race to officially decide it all here at Homestead, Miami. Now, if you watch the broadcast every week, you might notice that I might sound a little bit different and things may look a little bit different, and that's because I'm officially about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Homestead, Miami, actually. I've made the move down to Florida, and let's say my other computer is still in Tennessee. So I am joined by none other than our lead broadcaster on Friday nights, Mr. Matthew Chase.
Howdy, number 31 driver in the truck series. I'm putting my steering wheel aside for the night and coming up to help you with the final race of the season. So it's going to be a good one. We got 95 laps tonight, 3 sets of tires, a fast repair, and stages are going to be laps 23 and 47. And it's going to be interesting. This track brings the best and the worst out of these drivers. Turns 2 and 4 on exit are going to be very difficult, Bryce. And you were saying in practice sessions, entry into 1 was also, and 3 really, but really into 1 was a little difficult for you and the people you were running practice laps with.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the track conditions during the actual race itself, but I know that these guys are fighting a decent amount of fog and humidity out there in the session here, so we'll see if that's something that holds true in the actual race session as well. But yeah, that humidity, man, it makes the corner entry very slick, and if these guys aren't careful in the 1 and 2, like you said, or I guess really 1 and 3 technically, we can definitely have some problems out there, especially when we're, double file for how many guys we got in here tonight. It looks like we got about
15 right now.
Yeah, 15 as of now. We'll have probably a couple trickle in, but 7 rows of 2x2 racing. Not a lot of margin for error, especially when these trucks get loose. It's really hard at Miami to kind of save it. It is possible, but by the time you get the car saved, you're running a risk of a big overcorrect into the outside wall where you will be firewall deep. And even though these guys get a fast repair, that'll probably be a night ender, but it all depends on the amount of cautions we get or don't get.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll be surprised. We've had a lot better racing in the truck series over the last handful of races. I mean, Atlanta surprised me from the aspect from behind the wheel. Bristol, when we raced at Bristol earlier on in the season, that one kind of surprised me as well. I thought that one would be more of a caution fest than it was. And, so we've started to see these guys get more comfortable with each other. They're racing hard, but they are racing clean as well. And that's really a testament to just the abilities of all the drivers on track, as well as just the cohesion of all the drivers, realizing who can run hard against each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're 20 races deep now at this point. So, I mean, to your point, most everybody kind of has a gauge on how everybody runs, the lines that they usually prefer to take, who they can push 3 wide or who they maybe want to stay away from. So that's definitely helped clean up the racing. I've noticed in my personal experience that it's hit or miss at every track, right? But sometimes the track that people think are going to cause the most issues are usually the tracks that sometimes actually run the cleanest because everybody's on their best behavior, if you will, right? They understand how difficult the track is, so everybody, instead of maybe running at 100 or 110%, they're maybe backing down to about 80 or 90. And I've also seen where the tracks that in theory should be pretty easy, everybody's pushing 120%, and that's where we find ourselves having those cautions. And we've mentioned it time and time again where cautions breed cautions, especially in a series like this where momentum is so important and getting a rhythm. And you've been on the unfortunate at times been on the receiving end of that, where you run 2 or 3 laps and then we get another caution, run 2 or 3 laps and then get a caution, and you get to a point where people keep expecting there to be cautions, so they're trying to push for every ounce that they can get on that set restart, and then we just continue to compound the problem until finally we get it back together, and by that point it's usually a little too late.
And now we are done with our practice session, so these guys are going to get ready to get qualifying. 15 drivers on tap here tonight. And we'll see what these guys can do. We'll swap over to the tower so we can take a look as the times roll in. We'll see who the first one out on track is as well. I mean, do you want to be the first one to set the bar, or do you want to be there to set it a little bit later on?
Me personally, I like just being, one of the first ones out there. I think, obviously qualifying is its own kind of thing, right? I mean, having qualify speed is a lot different than having race pace. But when you go out there early, you don't really kind of have to worry about everybody else's time during your run. It's kind of pick your poison, because if you go earlier in the run, you're stuck watching the tower to see if anybody beats you. But if you say you're the last one on track, you know what you have to beat, right? So I think that part of it is kind of preference, but I'm usually one of the guys that likes to go out early, and I like to set the bar. I don't want to watch the bar chase me. So,
well, first one out on track was Sean Wilder. He's completed his out lap, and he has started lap number 1. He's diving it deep down to the inside in 1 and 2. Not wasting any time getting that hot lap in there. Kept it clean through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch he goes in the number 99. And once again, diving it deep down to the inside through 3 and 4. Let's see what his first lap will be, or if he can keep it off the wall, and he does do so. That first lap will be the bar setter, and it is a 32.73, so pretty comparable to the laps we were seeing in the practice session.
Yeah, curious to see as well. Did a little bit of testing. I'm wondering, some of these guys, what lap they elect to be their hot lap, and also the line. There's a couple different lines here at Miami that, if done correctly, you can put a good time on the board. So it'd be interesting to see who chooses to use what lap and what line. It looks like Wilder did commit to bottom on his second lap as well. So we'll see if he's able to better that time. He does not, so.
Yeah, I feel like once you've burned the tires on that hot lap, that's what you got. So Weiniger, he's on his second lap, and looks like he caught the wall in 1 and 2, but his first lap came in at a 32.79. He went bottom on lap 1. He tried going to the high side for the second lap, and no success to be found there. Let's see who else is out there. Seabolt's running his second lap. He's gone to the high side here in 3 and 4. And he's able to keep it off the wall, so this lap will be good for him. The 00 comes in P4 at 32.76. Tucker, though, has jumped to the top of the post there at a 32.68.
And I think we got, Happy coming around the track now for his first lap. Looks like he elected to stay on the high side on his out lap, going to be crossing the line now. We will see what he elects to do. So it looks like his first lap, he's going to go high here in 1 and 2. And that's the risk you take. I think it was Seabolt you just mentioned that, running the high line, you can definitely get some speed, but with how the qualifying works on iRacing, if you make any sort of contact, even a 0x, your lap is nullified. So you run the risk of the overall pace, and there's a high risk there, but sometimes high risk does equal high reward.
Yeah, KT McCann puts down a lap as well on his second lap now. He has got a 32.86. He's going around the second time. Here's Happy's first lap. And that is going to be a 32.92, so he's electing to stay high for his second lap as well. Looking at KT real quick. He's running down the backstretch, and he is also running a high line through 3 and 4 here. He keeps it off the wall in turn 4, and his second lap should be a little quicker, I would imagine. But no, it isn't. 32.86. Back to Happy for the remainder of his second lap. Will his be any quicker?
He ends up going to the bottom in 3 and 4 there as well. And it looks like he kind of clipped the apron there. I would have liked to see him try to run top in 3 and 4 as well. But nonetheless, that's going to put him at P9 for now. Looks like we've got 2 drivers left. Kean Fry is the only other one that is out there on track. He is coming into turns 3 and 4 now. He looks like he's probably only going to get one shot at his qualifying attempt with how late we are, so we will see what he's able to put together. He's going to be crossing the line now, gets the momentum coming from the high side. A 33.62, so he actually will get, that was his first lap, so he will get another attempt here. But that puts him right now in 14th, it looks like. Or no,
12th.
That's 12th.
Yep. Yeah, he's in 12th. He's got, I think, just enough time to get this second lap in. The only other one not to qualify is Frank Zimmel, and I think he had issues. Looks like he went off track at least once, so possibly both laps being nullified. But here comes Kian off of 4 for the final time. And he just barely can't make it across the line. That is heartbreaking for the 14, but he will start 12th on the field.
Gotcha. All right. Well, if you want to go ahead, I don't have the button here on this box, but if you want to set that grid timer really quick, I will go in and have a meeting with these gentlemen to get them fired up for the last race, and then I will meet you back up here in the booth.
Sounds good. And while Bryce is going...
All right, drivers, do we have a copy?
Talking with these guys, we will quickly...
All righty. Well, first and foremost, a huge thank you to everybody for showing up tonight and being a part of the season. It's been a blast to watch a lot of you guys.
We will quickly go over our sponsor here this evening. GrowMasters is an attractant with 30 different vitamins and minerals, as well as an all-natural organic dewormer. Unlike many other brands, GrowMasters has a large ratio of healthy and beneficial ingredients for deer and a lower amount of salt. With 2 irresistible flavors of red apple and persimmon, GrowMasters will bring the deer in and help them feel better. If a deer feels better, he eats more and grows more, meaning a bigger rack. Feed those deer GrowMasters 365 days a year for that trophy buck you've been dreaming about. For more information, head to their website, www.hhwildlifeproducts.com. Thank you, GrowMasters, for your sponsorship for our High Velocity Racing League Truck Series. Bryce just finishing up the drivers' meeting with these drivers, giving them words of encouragement. Quickly going over the grid here. We'll quickly go over the grid here now with your pole sitter Bryce Tucker running a 32.689. And outside of row number 1 will be Travis George in the number 16.
Trying to say anything right there, but we could not hear you.
Row 2 has the number 99 of Sean Wilder and the 00 of Ryan Seabolt. Row 3 is the 51 of Brendan Dayhoff and the 53 of Chris Weiniger. And then in row 4, we've got Mike Kufel in the number 9 and the number 95 of KT McCann. Row 5 has your Season 2 champion, Sean Happy Happick in the number 52 and the number 45 of Corey Moore. Row 6, the number 19 of Andre Carvalho and the 14 of Kian Fry. In row number 7, we do have the number 27 of Kyle Rogers and the number 1 of Bobby Grady. And shotgun on the field tonight is the number 11 of Frank Zimmel. And Bryce, we have all of our drivers ready to go, correct?
I'm going to run through the grid right now and double check. It looks like Zimmel is the last one in the field, and it looks like he is on track, so we are all set. The engine should be fired up, and we are ready to get this thing rocking and rolling.
Well, we will send them then. I went through and did the grid real quick while you were finishing up the drivers' meeting, so that's all ready and set and taken care of. So we'll get these guys pacing around the track and get them racing here for 95 laps.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. We saw some quick times in practice. We saw some quick times in qualifying as well. But the one thing that's going to be key tonight, well, there's really two things that are going to be most important. As per every track, you know, tire saving is going to be something that is something to keep an eye out for. But, you know, again, also the margin of errors here at Homestead, Miami are very slim. Those guys that are running that high line all night, it only takes about 2 or 3 times getting into that wall, and that is a lot of time lost, as well as some potential damage as well. You get some damage on the right front or the right rear of these trucks, and it completely changes how these things handle. So 93 laps, it's going to be a fun one to watch, and we will see. I think this one is going to be just as much about attrition as it is going to be about speed.
As most of these races are, trust me, being behind the wheel of the truck in most of these, it's been a battle of attrition. That's why a lot of times I end up finding my way in the back of the field and then trying to feel my way to the front as the race goes on. So, personal experience there. That's what I'm expecting to see. I'm curious to see, you know, Bobby Grady. He's been quick all season long. Will he find his way to the front later in the race, or is we going to see him staying near the back for this? But green flag flies in the air. We are racing here at Homestead, Miami.
And so far, everybody gets a good restart here. We'll really kind of see who's going to be moving around as we get into the entrance of turns 1 and 2. It looks like everybody keeping it clean. Ryan Seabolt, though, again, already getting into that wall, and you can see just how fast he loses all those spots. So he'll definitely have to make a recovery there. But Travis George takes the point as we go into turn 3.
Yeah, he ran that high line through 1 and 2. He's got it through 3 and 4. He's single file in the lead. He should have it off at 4 as well. Nobody going to be contesting the 16 here for the first lap. A great job of getting there from the outside of the pole.
Yeah, it looks like Bryce Tucker got a little loose there on the exit of 4. And that's something these guys are going to have to take care of as well. The more and more these guys get loose on the exit of these corners, the more and more those tires are going to get heated up and wear down, and the easier it is going to be to get loose. So you kind of have a compounding issue there. But it looks like right now these top 4 or 5 trucks have kind of gotten single file, and they're kind of looking to spread away from the rest of the pack here. And we got some mid-pack racing 2x2 though.
Looked like KT was trying to get to the quarter panel of Weiniger, but Chris a little bit quicker off of the exit of 4, having that high line. Like you said, mid-pack side-by-side race, and Happy moving up a couple of spots so far early in the run. He's found his way up to P7. He's right in front of the number 9.
3 wide for the lead. Oh, Sean Wilder. Yeah, it looks like Travis George kind of got into the wall, and Tucker had to check up, and Sean Wilder says, okay, well, I'll take the bottom here in 1 and 2, and he gets a 2 for 1 there, and that just goes to show you how quick the momentum can change here at Homestead.
And he's done a good job so far early on, keeping it tucked down to the bottom as well, not getting in the way of anybody else. But those Highline guys, they got checked up by George having to be, you know, in the wall. So Tucker's been running the high side as well as George. So you know the 7 got held up, and good move by Wilder to get to the point.
Yeah, right place, right time for him. And running the bottom here, too, is going to get you a little bit of advantage. We'll see how that plays out for these guys that are committing to the bottom. We'll see if that's something that's really going to come through later on in the runs. I mean, the stages aren't too long here at 23 laps-ish, about a piece. So we'll see how effective that bottom line is. You gotta play it smart, because if you commit to the bottom too long, you're just going to get, you're going to get trained up top. So I'm curious to see when some of these guys that are on the bottom are going to start to migrate up.
Yeah, you see Happy on running the bottom there. He's going to be side by side with Chris Weiniger off of 2. Looks like he's got a good opportunity again here through 3 and 4. KT's going to follow him down to the bottom as well. Maybe trying to cross him up a bit. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get to the inside of the 52, but Chris, all that momentum off the high side out of turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like Happy is just off the quarter panel. He'll get the advantage on corner entry here, but you'll see the momentum that Chris is able to carry on that high side. And KT is kind of looking to take advantage of a mistake from these two, but he's just going to sit in line right now, let these two guys try to fight it out, try to capitalize on it like Wilder. You can see Chris actually gets into the wall on the entry of 3 as well.
Yeah, KT's actually got the quarter panel of the 52 now as well, so Happy maybe looking to clear him off of 4. He does. He's going to fall up in line, and he will be now single file with the rest of the field.
Yeah, we See now, Happy migrates to the top. He does get into the wall, though, and he's in the wall hard. He's going to lose about 2/10 in that corner. He's going to be under attack now from the 51. KT McCann maybe getting a little loose off the exit of 2. Gives Chris a tap on the left side, lets him know that he's there.
And KT's diving back down to the bottom again, but as KT is, so is Brandon Dayhoff right behind him. 2x2 racing here in the mid-pack. It's for 5th and 7th. A crossover from Happy, almost making big-time contact there with Dayhoff.
Yeah, I think Happy may have cut him a little bit of a break there still early on in the race, but that's what it's going to come down to, especially as we get towards the end of this thing. When tires start to wear and the lines start to change and shift throughout the course of the night, there's going to be some desperate moves that have to be made, and that's one of them you saw right there a little bit early on in the race. We'll see how that continues to play up here with about 80-something left to go. Those moves are only going to get tighter and tighter.
Yeah, and it looks like KT might be able to clear the 53 this time. He does get the pass completed. Put KT McCann up to P4. Chris Weiniger going to look back to the inside into turn 1. 53 dives it down. Not too deep, though. They're going to be side by side, very tight on the high side. And Chris is going to have to back it off. That's going to lose him a ton of time as Happy and Dayhoff split him in the middle.
Getting a little wild out here. No pun intended from Mr. Wilder, but this is exactly what those top 3 are wanting to see, as everybody else is kind of battling and jockeying for position. Those top 3 guys are starting to put a pretty big gap on the rest of the field, and if this trend continues, that's what's going to happen. Travis George looks like he's actually fallen back just a little bit. He's going to be under attack here from KT in just another lap or 2, but Bryce Tucker just trying to hold on and keep Sean Wilder in the reins.
Yeah, Travis, he's a little over a second behind Tucker. Tucker and Wilder split up from the rest of the pack, rather, the top 2 being the fastest right here. Travis still committing to that top line as well, but now you got KT, Dayhoff, and Happy all ready to strike on that 3rd place position. But right now, they stay single file on lap 11.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to who can race the cleanest and make the least amount of mistakes. We've seen Travis George get into the wall pretty hard. We've seen Happy. We've seen Seabolt. So those are 3 guys that had really good qualifying efforts that have kind of lost some momentum there. So we'll see what's going to happen here and who can keep it the cleanest. And so far, those that have been able to do so have been the ones that have been able to make their way through the field the fastest.
Yeah, we had a 3 wide there off of 2, but everybody safe and sound out of it. KT still holds that 4th position. Dayhoff and Happy were challenging for it as well. And now KT's actually hard into the wall. That's going to put Dayhoff out of position. He's going to fall back. And Happy, he's going to jump up all the way from 5th to 3rd. Gets a couple of good passes. He's now side by side with a 16.
And a lot of movement out there right now. Still plenty of racing left to go, but these guys are putting it all out there on the line on the last race of the season. And we've seen it now. First Sean Wilder and now Sean Happy able to get a 2-for-1 off of the mistake of somebody else. So at what point, Chase, do you feel like these guys up front maybe kind of reel it down a little bit and try to think long-term here to put themselves in the best position to be in a position at the end to try to come away with a win?
Really, I haven't seen a situation where people have. Happy actually collects the wall there going into 3. Realistically, if it's me, I'm trying to get as many stage points as I can, especially for these drivers that are in a position of the chase. Travis George, he's in the 2nd place position in the standings right now. He's trying to make sure he can secure that, but his battle is with the truck right in front of him, of Bryce Tucker. If Bryce can get a good amount of stage points, that's going to propel the number 7 truck up into 2nd for this chase format. So if I'm Travis George, I'm pushing with everything I got to make sure the 7 doesn't get too far in front.
Well, and another thing that we got to keep an eye out too is you can see outside through some of the fog that's out there is that sun is only going to continue to get lower and lower, and that track is going to cool down. So maybe some of these guys that are running up front may tailor off towards the back, and maybe some of the guys in the back move to the front. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the race goes on and see. And maybe one of these drivers have a truck that comes in later on through the night.
And maybe they just get more comfortable with the track and the combo of the track and the tires. It's really about how comfortable you can feel while you're driving these trucks around the track. And as we're talking about all this, we've seen a lot of battling going on for the 3rd position. George and Dayhoff just battling back and forth, crossing each other over. And now, contact between Happy and George. George goes down to the infield. He's coming back up across the track, and he's going to spin out on the front stretch as he crosses the line. Yellow flag is out, lap 16.
Yeah, George did a hell of a job. He almost had it saved, but, you know, these trucks with how much side force are on them, he was going back and forth, man. But he did a hell of a job holding on to it, and it just got away from him there at the last second. I think getting down into that paint kind of is what helped finish Travis George off. But it doesn't look like Travis George really got into anything there, so he should be fine to move on.
It looks like very limited damage on the replay. We're looking at it right now. Just, you know, coming down onto the 52. A little bit of a racing deal between the two drivers there. No harm, no foul, other than the tires being heated up for the 16. So we'll see what he can do. He did, like you said, did a good job of not coming back up across the track either. So that's a really big one. So the 16 will fall to the back of the field. Wilder leading still. That advantage evaporates with the caution here on lap number 16.
Well, luckily enough, you got about 70 or so laps to get back up there. You know. It's unfortunate it happened. He got a little loose and flipped it, and yeah, so you know, it's unfortunate, but it wasn't intentional. So we go green for a couple more laps here, and then stage number 1 will come to an end. So the racing has been fun to watch so far. Just keep it up, and mistakes are going to happen before it's racing.
Hear it there. Definitely a racing deal. So KT McCann's going to be the first driver down pit road here, as is Seabolt, Grady, and George. George is going to have to get tires after skidding through the front straightaway. That's going to heat the tires up to a point of pretty much no return, I would say.
Yeah, Travis goes for a little bit of a ride there, so that's gonna put him in an interesting spot, because we'll have a couple laps here left in stage number 1. So you know, like I said, he's fighting for points, but yeah, I don't know what the play is here for Travis George, because you don't want to use him up too early. You want to have something here for the stages, but you know, at the same point, that's 4 or 5 laps here that he's going to have to put on those tires, and that's going to come to hurt him at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to be looking to try to get out front and just maintain after stage 1. Maybe he's going to push. I mean, I don't know. He definitely did take tires, though, so that could come back to bite him if he's not careful. So
yeah, I would. I mean, you know, it's obviously easier to say from the bird's eye view. I think if I'm in that situation, I'm already cycled to the back of the field anyway. I think I would just leave the set of tires that I have on and maybe try to make a pass or two. And, you know, maybe see if you can get a couple stage points. Because I mean, here's the thing: I guess you kind of wager, and I mean, maybe he'll be able to hold on to it. But do you get stage points in stage 1, or do you go for him in stage 2? Because if he gets those sets of tires and he pushes and gets his way all the way up to even, you know, maybe 5th or 6th in this stage, was it really worth it? You know, that's something that we'll have to see and find out once we get to the conclusion of the second stage and see how he's able to hold on to it. But he's had pace, so I've got faith in him for sure. We'll just have to see how that plays out.
he's also going to have to contend with a couple of other drivers who came down to get tires as well. I believe Seabolt got tires, as did Bobby Grady. Those guys were in pit road about the same amount of time as the 16. So those guys in the back, they've got some tires. We'll see if they can push their way back into the points for the end of stage 1. Doesn't have to go too far. Only 3 or 4 positions to get back into the stage points, but we're going to go green flag racing here once again on lap 20, and that'll be 3 laps, a 3-lap sprint to the end of stage number 1.
Yeah, gloves are going to be off here. These drivers getting into the Geico restart zone now.
Green flag, green flag.
Sean Wilder gets a pretty good jump on the bottom line. Top line having to check up a little bit. You see everybody fanning out, trying to do what they can to try to gain the track position here. And Bryce Tucker's going to go to the high side here, and I don't know if that's going to help him here. Deshaun Happy going to be able to ride the bottom here. That's going to give him the advantage coming off the corner, but Tucker will get it here. Looks like they're going to be side by side coming down the backstretch here. Tucker with a huge amount of momentum gets Happy a little door check going into turns 3. We'll see if Happy has anything to say about that.
Now they stay side by side through 3 and 4. Happy slight advantage, but the momentum on the high side brings Tucker to the front of the 52 again. He'll be side by side again into 1 and 2. Looking back at the 16, he's up to P12. Does he push? How hard is he going to push it these last 2 laps?
He's going to have to push it hard if he wants stage points. They're 3 wide ahead of him, so not a lot of real estate out there for him to make a move. And he's got to be careful not to get caught up in something else here as well as he tries to fight through the field. But looks like he's going to get the pass done on Seabolt here. He's going to be almost 4 wide. Still 3 with Seabolt and Andre. Looks like he's going to clear all 3 of those guys here. White flag in stage number 1.
And Wilder still leads them around the track here. Tucker runs more of a middle line here. He sits in P2. Happy will have the quarter panel of the 7 off of corner 2. We'll see if he's able to make the move in 3 and 4 for that second position. He's going to dive it deep. Tucker keeps it in a good spot for the momentum. Looks like Tucker might have enough of that momentum coming off of 4. But as we cross the line, Sean Wilder wins stage number 1.
A heck of a battle there for sure between Tucker and Wilder. Both able to keep it clean. Or, excuse me, Tucker and Happy able to keep it clean there. And it looks like Travis George was able to end up getting some stage points there. So, I mean, the tire call paid off a little bit there in stage 1, but again, how bad does that come back to hurt him here at the conclusion of stage 2?
Well, you did say if he could get to about the 5th position, he would be in good shape. That's where he got is the 5th position. So he passed everybody he wanted to, and it looks like Happy was able to beat Tucker back to the yellow flag. So another point taken away from the 7 with that battle.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these guys, we kind of mentioned it there at the top of the broadcast, is all these points matter. So for some of these guys, I mean, like I said, it was Travis George and Bryce Tucker that are fighting for a stage here, or fighting for second place, excuse me. So that's, that pass there that Happy gets, that's only puts it at a 3-point swing, and that could have been a lot worse for Travis George there, but that tire call saved him. He's able to get up to P5, and he's able to limit some of the damage that he would have had on points there from that incident there with Happy. But these guys are going to be coming down pit road. I don't foresee anybody staying out. I mean, maybe Travis George elects to stay out, but it looks like he's going to come in at this point and top off on fuel. Again, shouldn't need tires here, so that might cycle him back to the lead.
That would help him out, especially in that situation. So we'll see if he does. Seabolt looks like he's the only one to stay out. Ryan Seabolt staying out after getting the tires with that caution late in the first stage. So the first one into the box is Sean Wilder at the front. And we'll see. He's getting tires. Tucker's getting tires. George not getting tires, obviously. He'll be the first one off of pit road. So that'll put him outside or inside of the front row, depending on what Ryan Seabolt decides to do. And the next one off of pit road will be the number 99 is Sean Wilder. He led pretty much every lap of the first stage, so not a bad run there for the number 99. And what do you say, Bryce? Should we get him up here and have a quick conversation with him?
I was just about to say, speaking of the number 99, your stage 1 winner, Sean Wilder, able to make one hell of a pass there for the lead. You saw the 2 guys in front of you kind of get the wall and have to check up, and you get a 2 for 1. You get to the lead and you never look back, man. So congrats on your stage 1 win. And how's the truck feeling out there?
Feeling good. Yeah. It's the advantage of running the whole line. The low line there is, you kind of get in each other's way up on that top line. So, anyways, I think that's what happened. I'm already on the low line, so I was able to get by him and able to stay out front there.
Yeah, and running the bottom here is going to be a little bit better on the tire. So, we've seen it work. We've seen you and Happy look to be pretty committed to that bottom line. This track can definitely change as the night goes on, but with how much that bottom is working for you, it's definitely a good place to be, and you definitely said it right. Top line, there's a lot of risk up there and a lot of potential for these guys to get in the wall, and that could cause a massive checkup. So far, man, personally, I like what I'm seeing from you. You're doing a hell of a job out there. Congrats on the stage win. We'll get you back to your team, and we'll see if we'll see you here again after the race.
All right, thanks, guys.
Stage 1 winner Sean Wilder. He'll start 3rd for this second stage. So he started there at the beginning of the race, so I would expect to see very similar driving style at the beginning of the second stage, trying to make sure he gets his way back to the front of the field. He's got a couple of trucks in front of him who did not come down pit road for tires. George getting just the fuel only. So let's see how bad that affects those two drivers at the front, and how these freshies right behind them will also affect them. It's going to be pace car down pit road. Seabolt has control of the field. He rips away off the start, and a great restart for him. Not so good for the 16 of Travis George.
Yeah, and Happy gets right up to the bumper of Travis George and just nowhere to go. And I was just going to say that Seabolt and Travis George were going to have one hell of a restart to try to get a little bit of an advantage with those tires, but that advantage is already gone as Sean Wilder is almost even with Ryan Seabolt coming down on the backstretch here. You definitely see the tire advantage. Wilder going to be hugging the bottom here again at 3 and 4. Almost clears him in the center. Not quite there yet. We'll see if he gets the drive off. Almost, but here comes Seabolt back on the top line now. Going to get this lap led potentially, and it looks like we got a yellow out there on the track.
Oh, Weiniger involved. Corey Moore involved. A bunch of drivers. See if we can take a look at it. Said Weiniger was involved, so we'll pop on with him.
Yeah, he's kind of riding that seam there in 3 and 4. Yeah, and that just upsets the truck. He tries to hold on to it, and it looks like Corey Moore kind of saw him getting loose and was going to try to make the move around him, and just misjudges it slightly there and clips the rear of Chris and kind of finishes him off there. It's hard racing. But that seam is definitely not a place you want to be on cold tires.
And a bunch of trucks getting involved in that. Zimmel also collected in it, as well as Carvalho and Bobby Grady. All those guys collected. Corey Moore, we saw the contact between him and Chris. That's some fast trucks, especially Chris. I know he's been up front for most of the race. A bunch of them collected in this wreck, so fast repairs will be used. Bobby Grady had to jump to the pits, so there was a tow involved for him, so he'll be multiple laps down here. That's going to be a tough road back for the number 1 truck.
Yeah, and you know, as long as everything goes to plan, he should at least get one of those laps back at the end of the stage, barring any other cautions or any other issues. So we'll see if he'll be able to bounce back from that. But yeah, that's the importance of track position at a place like this. You know, obviously nothing intentional there. Chris just gets a little loose and nowhere to go for a lot of those guys out there. So track position really important, and you know, even though Ryan Seabolt and Travis George do lose a couple positions there on that restart, they're still up towards the front and out of the chaos that we've seen so far. So, I mean, all in all, not that bad of a gain, and this caution is going to help out their fuel situation as well.
And the tire difference as well. The heat cycles of those tires are going to be super important. And now with these extra caution laps, that's a handful less that they have to run under the green flag conditions. So, you know, lap 47 is the next of the stages. So if they can maybe hang on to a little bit of that track position due to the cooling of the tires, granted we only ran 1 full lap pretty much. It's not that much of a difference. But if they can hold on to that track position a little bit and maybe hold some stage points, who knows what could happen here.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, we may not be done wrecking. We've seen 2 causes of caution so far. You know, both have been, you know, obviously accidental, but all in all, you know, we may not be done wrecking. So some of these guys may have an opportunity to get back up through the field and try and hold on to it. But Sean Wilder are going to have the fresher tires there on the restart. So Seabolt was able to get one hell of a jump. But one thing that I mentioned to some of the guys during practice as well that I was running with is, you know, the top line may be the faster lane during the course of the race, but on these first initial restarts, the bottom line is just the shorter way around the track. So oftentimes you actually gain more time on the bottom than you do up the top. So if Wilder can get a good restart, hug the bottom, and hold up top, on the backstretch, he should be in a good position to not really have to defend too much for the lead.
That's kind of what he did through the first stage. You know, he was running the bottom. He kept it tight to the white line and through both ends of the track, and he was able to get to the lead and just kind of run away with it and able to hold the top line away and at bay. So let's see what he can do off the restart. The pace car will be diving down pit road here, and they'll be driving into the restart zone, and we'll see if Wilder rips away. The leader has done a good job of being able to get that big advantage, and he does so once again. He'll be clear to the top if he wants it, to get that nice arc down into turn 1.
Yeah, they're going to be side by side behind him right now. Everybody kind of jockeying for what they can get. It looks like we're almost 3 wide for second. Seabolt may be in the wall Again, he loses a lot of time, so Travis George is going to be on the bottom, but Sean Happick is going to have the momentum off the high side, off of turn 2. Going to be side by side into the corner here. Travis George has the bottom, so again, he'll have the advantage throughout the middle of the corner, but we'll see if Happy is able to get one off the corner. But Travis George actually just says, nope, no thank you, I'll go ahead and clear you, and I'll just make sure that it goes down for this time.
One thing to watch will be the crossover as Happy dives to the bottom in turn 1. Somebody's in the wall. I'm looking like potentially KT. Yeah, KT's in the wall, as is the 27 of Rogers. And KT, he's going to park it on the wall there. I'm not sure what happened to the 95, but he's towing to the pits. Interesting scenario there for the number 95 of KT McCann.
Oh yeah, I'm going back and watching it. I don't know if, wow, yeah, that's okay. That's something to go back and look at there. I'm surprised it's not a yellow, but KT kind of got killed by Tucker in the rear and hooks him into the wall. And I know Mike got collected in it. Tucker, couple, again, some fast trucks that involved, and some big hits for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, we're taking a quick look at it here. Yeah, hard shot for KT. Tucker getting involved, like you said. And Mike's got nowhere to go. He lifts the back of the 95 on top of him. So we'll see what happens going forward for those guys. They're all coming down pit road for sure. But like you said, weird that it didn't throw the yellow flag. Wilder will be happy, though, as he's still pulling away from P2. The gap out to 1.2 seconds over the 16.
Yeah, we've talked about, we do go by the iRacing flags here, and we all know how finicky it can be. But while all that's going on, Sean Happick did get past a couple times, but now he's looking to make the move back here again on Travis George. He's right in the bottom, but I've seen a couple times where it looks like Sean might be getting a little bit loose off the exit of the corner, and that's killing his momentum on the front stretch. So everything that he's gaining on corner entry, he's actually losing on exit. So that's something that we're going to have to keep a watch on and see if that's something he can correct. But as I say that, he gets a hell of a drive on turn 2. They're going to be side by side down the backstretch.
That momentum from the 16 is on the high side, though. Travis George able to hold him down for now. Will Happy be able to keep the momentum up off of 4? He's, like you said, been getting loose, but this time around, nothing doing there for the 16. No loose for the 52, and he makes the pass happen for P2. Sean Happick up just the second spot.
And I know one person that is extremely happy to see all of this going on, and that is the number 99, Sean Wilder, who is almost half a straightaway ahead from these guys now with all the battling out there. So he's just on cruise control right now. All he has to do is just hit his marks, back up, save a little bit of tire just in case these guys do get back to him, and he should be all set to go here. But the more and more those guys continue to race, the further and further the gap is going to get to first place here.
And really only 10 more laps in this second stage as well. So even if Happy can get there, will he be able to make the pass happen? Wilder's been hugging the bottom the entire race so far, and I know Happy's been liking that bottom too, but if he has to go to the top, is he going to be able to make the pass on the high side? Wilder's been doing a very good job of defending from the bottom of the track in the corners, so I would expect to see more of the same throughout the rest of this race.
Yeah, getting to him is one thing. As we all know, getting around him is going to be a complete other thing. And with how much battling that Happy's had to do here in this stage, I don't know that he is going to get to Wilder. But if he does, I don't even know that he's going to have anything for him. I could be wrong, but the more and more that Happy has to battle here, the harder it's going to be to get around a race later.
And now, looking at Dayhoff, he got by teammate of Seabolt, and now he's looking to attack the 16 of Travis George for the third spot. He should have some momentum down the front straightaway. Travis jumps up in front, though, blocking that momentum run. And he will dive down middle to bottom as Dayhoff will try to run around the outside and get that momentum built up for the backstretch.
I wonder how much the tires are starting to come into effect now. We've seen Seabolt fades down to 5th place here, and Travis George going to try to hold on for 4th. Dayhoff able to clear him on entry. Now a little bit of a roll reversal here from the last corner. Travis trying to get the momentum off 4, but it's just not enough. Again, you got to wonder if those tires are a factor here, but George gets the draft and just decides to lift a little bit early here, so looks like he is conceding the position for now. Travis George is just going to have to hold on here and try to salvage what he can here in this stage. And so far, he is ahead of Tucker in this stage. I don't know if Tucker will get to him, but if he does, these two are going to continue to battle for that second place point spot here.
Yeah, you know, the people who were benefiting from that incident a little bit earlier are the 16 and the 00. Those guys still riding in the top 5. Who knows what would have happened if Tucker and Mike and all those guys who were involved in the incident were able to continue racing at the speed that they had been racing.
Yeah, all in all, I'm looking at the rear chase camera here from Sean Wilder, and that number 52 Under Armour Toyota TRD Pro is getting a lot bigger in the mirror. So we will see. Time is starting to dwindle down here in stage 2, but it looks like Happy is able to start getting to him. Will he able to get there and get around him, though? That is the question that we will have the answer to in just a few laps.
Yeah, that's not what the 99 wanted to see. Happy conserving the tires enough, making it work. He's got the gap down under 7/10, and as they come off of turn 2, it's underneath 6/10. Happy is coming for that race lead.
Like I said, time is running out, but if he continues at this pace, he should get there. But again, can he make the move to get around him? We'll see. It looks like Wilder actually may have gained just a little bit there. Not a whole lot, but lap 43, the stage is going to end at the beginning of 47. So 3 laps to go here for Sean. Happy to get to Sean Wilder.
And Seabolt actually lost the 5th position from Kean Fry. So the 14 up into the top 5 for the first time tonight. And Seabolt will try to attack back to get it. Shouldn't have any issues of falling back any farther than that 6th position. The next car back is the 45 of Corey Moore. He's 4 seconds back from the 00.
And that truck continuing to get bigger and bigger in the mirror. And if you're Sean Wilder here, you got to just continue to look at the windshield, right? The more and more you look in the mirror, the more prone you are to making a mistake. And that's just going to allow Happy to continue to creep up to him. But Happy is definitely well within the draft now. So if he can string a couple corners together here and get a run, he might be able to get to the bumper of Sean Wilder. And we'll see. Looks like Wilder gets the apron just a little bit there in the middle of the corner. Going to lose some momentum on exit, but able to hold on to it. So it looks like this gap is decreasing, but I don't know that it's decreasing enough for Happy here.
2/10, 2 laps. Can Happy make it work? He's also going to have to change his line. Wilder has been committed and planted on the bottom. I am very interested to see what Happy decides to do here as they come around through lap 45 and into lap 46. Wilder still sticking to that bottom, and that's exactly what the 99 is going to continue to do for the last 2 laps.
Yeah, Happy's going to have to start doing something different here. You might want to try to run the high line in 3 and 4 and just gain that extra amount of momentum going into the corner to set himself up to make a pass. He's almost there to Wilder. It looks like Wilder may have entered the corner a little bit too deep there. That's going to get Happy to the left side. They're going to be side by side coming down the backstretch here. Happy has the momentum for now, but Sean Wilder going to be on the preferred line on the outside. Going to get the run to the corner. Sean does Happy does a good job of backing up corner entry here. And it looks like Happy may have the momentum that he needs to cross the line here in stage number 2. He's going to fight him off, and Sean Happy is going to be your stage winner in stage number 2. So a sweep by the Seans here in the first 2 stages.
The Sean and Sean show, but the 52 comes out on top, and it really comes down to that final lap. Wilder drove it in too deep and washed up the track in one.
I don't know why that wasn't a caution. I didn't see what happened until about half a lap later, and the last thing I want to do is not go by iRacing flag. So that's that's a little bit crazy. That definitely should have been a caution, and I apologize that it wasn't. But I think that goes down for one of the craziest non-caution calls I've ever seen.
So your championship winner able to secure that second stage. A good run there for him. And a good job of chasing down the number 99. And Travis George and Ryan Seabolt able to keep it in the top 6. So not a bad job on the older tires for those 2 drivers.
Yeah, it was a great battle there between those two. I gotta be completely honest with you. I'm surprised that Happy got back to him, and that's not, that's not a knock on Happy at all. But that was a pretty big gap, and with all the battling that Happy did early on in that stage, it's definitely not a bet I would have made. But he's able to get there. He's able to take advantage of it and get himself some more stage points here. So we'll see everybody diving down pit road right now. I'm sure some of these guys will elect to come in and get some damage repaired from that accident if they haven't gotten it all repaired thus far. And we'll have to watch this race off pit road and see if Wilder or Happy will get the race win off pit road, or if we might see any strategy calls here.
Happy's down and away. Dayhoff will be down and away. This is going to be a tight battle, and it is so close. I can't tell who got it. That had to have been 1,000.
Sean got it.
Sean got it. That is for sure. It was one of them, either Happy or Wilder. Either way, I say we grab our Season 2 champion and have a quick conversation with him. What do you think, Bryce?
I think that the 52 of Sean Happy is here in the booth talking with us right now. Happy, you had a pretty big gap to cover there coming to the end of that stage, and I gotta be honest, I didn't know that you were going to get there with some of the battling you had to do early on in that stage with Travis George, but able to run him down and make the pass with 1 lap to go here and get yourself another stage win here in the series. How's the truck feeling out there tonight?
It's feeling pretty good. I didn't think I was going to catch him either. I just said, well, I'm going to stay in my line and try to stay smooth. I got loose a few times. Yeah, especially with that battling, like you said, I really didn't think I was going to be able to catch him. And checking the relative, I was gaining a 10th or so every lap, and it seemed like. So, yeah, just went after it. I think he said he was going up to block my high run there. He thought I was going up high, and I didn't. I stayed low, so that's the only reason I was able to get around him on the bottom there. So that was good fun racing there.
Yeah, I want to comment too. It looks like so far you and Wilder are the only two that have been pretty committed to the bottom line throughout the entirety of this race. Of course, having to shift here and there when the track is blocked up. So seems to be paying off for you. The Sean and Sean show here at the final race of the season. The two Seans running both the bottom lines, battling for the stage win. We'll see if that continues. Good luck to the rest of your race, and we will see you on the after show for our at least an interview for winning the season, but we'll see if you're up there in the podium. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
2 stages down, half a race to go. And we'll see what happens as they get ready to go green flag racing. Once again, the pace car will be diving down pit road. Hopefully for the final time, Bryce, but we'll see if it is. Green flag will be flying as Happy rips away out of the restart zone. And we are green flag again on lap 51.
Well, the truck count is dwindling down as the race goes on, and judging by the information that we have on the fuel run, if this thing does stay green, we will have a green flag pit stop. And I've said it time and time again, and, well, I don't even need to say it anymore because the yellow flag is out. But I don't think that's going to be enough. We probably still will get a green flag pit stops, and races can be won or lost on pit road.
Yeah, we're going to take a look and see what happened. Once again, the seam, looks like, of the corners catching somebody unawares as Kian Fry does a good job of keeping it off of the bottom of Travis George, but then he overcorrects. Looks like he's going up high and loses it again. Let's see what happens going afterwards. Chris able to avoid contact again. He's already had to use the fast repair tonight. And Corey Moore, nowhere to go. He hits the wall in the back of the 14 as well. Bryce Tucker able to get through, as does Mike Kufel. Kyle Rogers, a little bit of contact. And it looks like that might be it for everybody making contact there. But Kian, not too bad on the damage front, looks like, but still going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, did a good job there with damage control, no pun intended. The overcorrects here in these trucks are pretty violent, and he was almost head on with the outside wall, but he's able to kind of chase it around, and like I said, the gap just kind of closes for Corey there, but that's damage that I think he should be able to get wrapped up here before we go green. If not, he'll have just a handful of seconds left, so no harm, no foul. These guys are racing hard, and those gaps and the lenience is getting tighter and tighter as this thing goes on, but I mean, if we get one more caution here, we'll probably be good to go depending on when it falls on fuel. But if we stay green, like I said, that green flag pit stop is definitely going to come into play.
Yeah, and real quick, we're going to go over a quick talk about our sponsor here tonight. GrowMasters is an attractant with 30 different vitamins and minerals, as well as an all-natural organic dewormer. Unlike many other brands, GrowMasters has a large ratio of healthy and beneficial ingredients for deer and a lower amount of salt. With 2 irresistible flavors of red apple and persimmon, GrowMasters will bring the deer in and help him feel better. If a deer feels better, he eats more and grows more, meaning a bigger rack. Feed those deer GrowMasters 365 days a year for that trophy buck you've been dreaming about. For more information, head to their website, www.hhwildlifeproducts.com. Thank you, GrowMasters, for your continued support through the High Velocity Racing League Truck Series.
Yeah, you've done a great job, and like Chase said, thank you to GrowMasters for hopping on board with us here and their support. It's been a great time having them on board here and supporting the series like they do, and it's people like them that help make this series possible and help these operations continue to go on. So we couldn't be more appreciative, and looking forward to seeing how this one goes.
Lap 54 as they get double file, so we'll be going green flag racing in one more lap. 55, which means we've got 41 laps remaining here tonight to the end of regulation. We might have some overtime. You never know. The tempers might rise as we get closer and closer to the end of the race, and who knows what'll happen. Maybe we'll see a green-white checkered. Maybe we won't.
Yeah, I wouldn't completely rule it out of the realm of possibility, but you know, again, we've lost a couple trucks up to this point, so field is not as full as it first was, so that should kind of limit everything here. We've had a couple guys having some issues on restarts here, so they should kind of be self-conscious of that, and we should be able to get this one going here. And yeah, I mean, if this thing come down to a green-white checker, that would be a blast to watch. We might have to do a little bit of Michael Waltrip All-Star Race action and just accidentally drop the yellow flag on the track here with just a handful of laps to go and get a green-white checker.
Or just do a North Wilkesboro promoter caution.
There you go.
Green flag flies, though. Happy rips away, as does Brandon Dayhoff on the inside. He's going to be to the inside of the 99 of Sean Wilder as they enter turn 1. And we'll see Happy committing once again to that bottom, hugging that white line. He rips away on turn 2, and he is well out in front of the field as Wilder and George, with a big run down the backstretch, will fall into second and third.
And one thing to make note of, too, I know Tucker was involved in that non-caution as Sean Wilder does his best Tokyo Drift impression off of turn 4, does a hell of a job keeping it under control, but Tucker was involved in that no-call caution with KT, and I think he had some pretty substantial damage. Travis George gets the upper leg on him in that stage. Curious to see. That's a points battle that we're going to keep an eye on all night. And Travis George doing a good job now, back up to P2, looking to make a move on Sean Wilder after he got loose. He gets his way into the second place spot.
Yeah, and he didn't fall too far in stage 2 with the older tires. He only fell back to 5th, but he's loose there. Almost loses it again off of turn 4, and that's going to give all that momentum back to the number 99 of Sean Wilder. He'll be on the outside as they enter turn 1.
I see these guys really starting to feel the pressure from one another, pushing each other to the limits. And yeah, we saw Wilder get loose and George got loose, so we'll see who's up next to get loose, if anybody. But hell of a job between these two guys keeping it clean. They're racing hard, but all in all, so far, we stay green flag racing, and this is what we love to see. But Sean Wilder putting the pressure on Travis George. They're getting right to the rear, trying to get the 16 of Travis George a little bit loose. Looks like he's looking to make a move. Frank Zimmel has a moment off of turn 4 as well.
And these guys still battling for second. Looks like George up the track a little bit in 1 and 2, and Wilder looks to the inside. He should have a decent amount of momentum through the backstretch and into turn 3. They'll be door to door as they enter, and Wilder dives deep down into turn 3. He should be able to complete the pass here off of 4.
Yeah, Travis doing a good job, though. Gets a little loose, but Travis George is running that middle line, and as the race goes on, that's a groove that might come into play. But with all that racing that we had there, that brings the number 51 into the equation as well. So Wilder and George are going to have to be careful. Obviously, you want to fight for every position you can, but at what point do you kind of back off, let the tires cool off, and make another run so that way more and more people don't get into this fight?
As you said, Dayhoff is poking his nose in now, too, as he looks to the inside of the 16 for the third position. The number 51 will have a slight advantage, but Travis George should get all that momentum off of the high side of 4. And running down the front stretch, they'll be door to door as they enter turn 1. And not able to dive it deep, though, is Dayhoff. That should be giving Travis George another opportunity here off of 2 to stay even.
Woo! Yeah, Brandon Dayhoff cutting it close there. Almost clear, but not quite. Does get the position on Travis, but it looks like Travis is going to go for the crossover here in turn 3. And that's a move that, you know, come later in the race, that's something that we might see. The good old slide job, driving it in deep on the inch of the corner. He let the truck come up and try to block the guy on the high line. And these two are throwing some haymaker sliders off the exit of these corners.
Yeah, you want to talk about slide job. Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton slide jobs all over the place. And it is finally going to go the way of Travis George. He has the position for now. Dayhoff will be trying to find a way back by the 16 at any point, though. They are still within striking distance of each other.
And why all that's gone on, Sean Happick has continued to extend the lead ever so slightly, but now, again, another time in this race where the roles are reversed. Sean Wilder trying to run down our race leader there, and Sean Happick. And I mean, Happy has gotten away just a little bit, but Sean Wilder is definitely in striking distance if the number 52 makes a mistake here.
Yeah, still a good advantage, though. 7/10 the gap from the 52 to the number 99. And you know Happy wants to try to secure the win for himself here, get that 3rd race win of the season. He's talked all season about how badly he wanted to get a 3rd one. This is his opportunity to do it. He's been out front for the 2nd stage and now here in this 3rd and final stage, so you know he wants to win.
Yeah, and we got 95 laps in this race here. We're just a handful of laps away from that final pit window opening up, so we'll see if one of these guys elect to maybe try to throw in a strategy, try to pit a little bit early and make up some ground. But like I said, about a couple laps to go, and we will be in that pit window, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye out as well.
Yeah, I would imagine the next 7-8 laps you'll be looking at maybe the beginning of the opening of that window. You might have some people try to stretch it a little bit to try to have the fresher tires at the end, but how much time will they give up on the undercut really is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find that balance. I mean, I think, you know, just based off what we saw in the last couple stages, I know that Wilder and Happy have done a good job of maintaining the long run. So, you know, if these guys are going to do it, they're going to have to do it early enough and try to make up time, but they can't lose too much on the back end.
Saw something weird. It looked like Sean Wilder ran the high side in 3 and 4 that time. Not sure if he was just trying to put air on the front of the 16 or what, but Travis George has started to reel back in the number 99 as well. 3/10 the gap from P2 to P3, and Dayhoff is right there in striking distance as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 times now. I mean, Wilder's had pace throughout the middle part of the stage, but looks like he kind of files off a little bit here towards the end of a fuel run, and that's allowed Happy to extend the lead, and that brings Travis George and Brandon Dayhoff back into the fight. So once those 3 get around each other and they start battling, that should, in theory, give Happy an even bigger gap on these guys. And, you know, we'll see what happens. But like I said, green flag pit stop should be coming up here relatively soon. And who can go the slowest the fastest is going to be the name of the game.
Fair. Battle back here for the 8th position. There's a couple of guys side by side. We got Kean Fry and Andre Carvalho. Those guys battling hard for the 8th position, and then right behind them, Bryce Tucker and Frank Zimmel battling for 9th. All of these guys trying to push farther and farther up the running order and closer to the top 5.
Yeah, and while all that's going down, Travis George officially got to Sean Wilder. He does make the pass here in the middle of 1 and 2, and able to pass him quite easily. I don't know if Wilder gave that up or what, but battles going around all across the track. It looks like Bryce Tucker battling back there with that looked like Kean and Andre, so intensity's starting to pick up a little bit here as this race continues to move on, and we're getting closer and closer to that checkered flag. So the amount of space being given is going to continue to dwindle down as this race goes on.
Yeah, and Kean's looking for the crossover, but Tucker's got enough momentum down the front stretch to hold him off for now. Kean looks to the inside, though, of the number 7 into 1, so these guys will continue battling up here in the tail end of the top 10. Back up front, Wilder now playing chase the 16 in the 3rd position, but he's also got to contend with that 51 of Brandon Dayhoff as well. Dayhoff has been right there in striking distance, and Wilder actually collects the wall off of 4, losing a little bit of that momentum.
Yeah, and it looks like we got a decent amount of groups here. You got, Happy in the race lead, who's a handful of seconds ahead, and then you got a little bit of a 3-car gaggle here, and Travis George, Sean Wilder, and Brandon Dayhoff, and then the next 5 guys are kind of all pretty spread out, single file here. So a lot of things can change here in this race, but the more and more these guys continue to battle, that's going to bring the guys in the middle part of the field closer and bring Happy further away. But this has been one hell of a race here. I mean, the battle for really 1st through 5th has been absolutely insane all night long. It's been a blast to watch.
And we're on lap 70, which means we've got 21 to go here from Homestead, Miami. Sorry, 26 to go, not 21. I can count. And, 26 more laps, which means this time around, I would say the fuel window should be open here any moment.
Well, yeah, and it's at that point, too, you want to actually be able to use your tires. I've never really been a fan of pitting with, 10 laps to go. You've got an extra set of tires. Obviously, you got a chance of a caution coming out, but me personally, with, again, the amount of cars that we have on track and how spread out everybody is right now, I would take the gamble that there's not going to be a yellow. And I would come in, in the next handful of laps and have a full stint to actually be able to use the fresh rubbers on the car. And, we'll see. But just pitting with 10 laps to go in that range, I don't feel like you really get to use a lot of those fresh tires. So I'm sure somebody's got to come down here in the next handful of laps. I would think anyway, but we'll see.
Maybe they'll just run it dry. I mean, that is a strategy as well. I've done that in a couple of races. Run the truck completely empty of fuel and then get the tires with only a handful of laps to go. It gives you the freshest tires for the shortest amount of time, but it also gives you the most speed when those guys are starting to feel that fall off of the tires in their own run. So that's kind of a strategy that could be used. So we'll see what happens. 24 laps to go though. Now 23 as Happy crosses the start-finish line.
Yeah, and just one thing to comment on that too. Obviously hindsight's always going to be 20/20, but there comes a certain point where you are correct. Obviously the later you go, the fresher tires you have. But if you only get 10 laps to use those tires, you're on a 30-lap stint here. Why not pit 10 laps early and do it 20/20? And that way your tires haven't fallen off too much, and you still get to use a full set. But as I say that, it looks like the 19 of Andre Carvalho is going to elect to come down pit road this time. So we'll have our first pit road taker here on lap 73 coming to 74 with about 22 laps to go. So he'll have a nice little stint there on those tires.
And Wilder does get by the 16 of Travis George. He sits now in 2nd position, but that gap to the race leader is hovering around the 3-second mark. So really, really got to find some speed here in this final run to the finish if you are the number 99 to win this race.
Yeah, and we've got some takers on pit road. It looks like Wilder, Travis George going to be coming down pit road. The number 9 of Mike Kufel as well. So Happy maybe looking to run her dry here. I don't know if we got some people listening to the broadcast in the background or not, but yeah, Travis George, Sean Wilder coming down pit road. So if Happy doesn't come down here in the next 2 or 3 laps, he's actually going to lose time on those fresh tires.
Yeah, I know Happy has a tendency of listening to the broadcast as we go. Every so often he'll poke his head in here and kind of listen to what's going on. So we'll see if he comes this time by. Dayhoff, Tucker, Weiniger, and Fry. And I believe Zimmel and Corey Moore also have stayed out. But here comes your race leader, Sean Happy Happick. He's coming down pit road, as is Brandon Dayhoff. That's going to leave Chris Weiniger out on the point now.
Yeah, and a good job there by Sean Happy. He got a little loose on the entrance to the pit road. I believe Sean Wilder had a moment like that as well. So sure, pit road can be tricky here at Homestead. If you don't believe us, just ask the pace car. Or Kyle Larson, I believe, was another culprit as well.
Yep.
But all in all, yeah, I mean, we got about 20 laps to go here once these guys come out of the pits for their cycles. So I got an eye here on Sean Happig here. I don't see Travis George or Sean Wilder yet. It looks like they're coming off of 4 now.
Wilder just had a big issue almost. He got super loose off of 4, and he almost threw it into the outside wall. He was able to collect that truck, though. He is coming through 1 and 2 now, and Happy should be right in front of him coming out of pit road. Wilder gonna be about a second back as they both race into turn 3.
Yeah, and that gap should close a little bit here on this first lap while Happy's tires get up to temps. But, you know, one thing, too, to note to make a difference is, you know, obviously Sean Happick had a pretty good lead at the beginning of that, or at the end of that stint, excuse me. But one thing that can be tricky at times is Sean Wilder and Travis George both pit, and they were really close together. So, you know, when you're having to pit around others, you kind of back down your pit entry a little bit sometimes, because you obviously don't want to be the one to make the mistake. So Sean Happick kind of having a clear lane to pit road, I wonder if that's something that kind of helped gain that advantage as well. But Sean Wilder doing a good job of reeling in Sean Happick right now. Travis George within striking distance as well. So this race is definitely far from over, and anything can happen here, especially if we get a late yellow.
Yeah, and these guys aren't even in the lead, racing for the lead. They're racing for the net lead. Corey Moore, the 45, he is leading this race right now, but he still has to make a pit stop with 18 laps to go. And the speed differential is going to be heavily in the favor of the 52 and 99. Corey Moore does stay out this lap as well. He will lead another one in the number 45.
Yeah, and if you're Corey Moore, you're just hoping and praying for a caution. I mean, that's really all you can bank on. But to your point, the longer that he stays out, these guys are just going to continue to run that lap time down further and further. And, you know, sure, Corey Moore will have a little bit of advantage on the back end of things, but I think at that point the damage is probably going to be done at that point. But, you know, again, if you're Corey Moore, you just need a caution here, and you'll have a fresh set of, or the freshest set of tires to try to make a run. And again, too, an advantage for him is not a lot of cars on track, right? So not as many cars to pass if we get into that scenario. But with how spread out we are right now, I don't know that that's going to happen, but we've seen stranger things happen.
The other downside, though, is as these guys in behind him collect more and more time and they get closer and closer, as he goes down pit road, that's going to be farther and farther back he's going to have to try to come back from. But with 16 to go, he's still out on track, and that gap to Happy now down to 6 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, he's flirting with lap down territory at that pace as well. You know, with going in, you know, less fuel to take, sure, but if you're going to take 4 tires, there's a minimal amount of fuel that you're going to have to take anyway. So, again, he's really hoping for a caution to stay out there, but so far it looks like Sean Happick is able to put a little bit of lead on the field for right now, again, for what will end up being the race lead. But we'll go through the field really quick. Again, Corey Moore, your net race leader right now, still yet to pit. And then in P2, you've got Sean Happick, followed by Sean Wilder, and Travis George, with Ryan Seabolt going to be rounding out your top 5 here for now. Brandon Dayhoff and Mike Kuffel done a good job of bouncing back from that no call as well, followed by Andre Carvalho and Bryce Tucker. So, and here we go, a little bit of background information. The 45 of Corey Moore is going to be coming down pit road this time by. Another thing that's hurt Corey as well is all the damage that he has on his truck, but Sean Happick is there at his bumper right now. So, again, Corey Moore going to be flirting with a lap down here by the time he comes out of the pits.
And there goes the 52 around the outside. Corey Moore going to dive down onto the access road to stay out of the way and not risk looping it as he goes down pit road. So Happy reclaims the lead. The gap to P2, Sean Wilder, is just over a second. And with 13 laps to go, he's going to look to continue building that lead. He had it out to 3 seconds, but Wilder had the short run speed. Happy has the long run speed. Will he be able to build that gap out anymore?
I think he will. I mean, again, not to be, you know, a critic of Wilder, but the trend of the race has shown, as you mentioned, that Wilder has had really, really good short run speed, but, you know, he pays the price for it on the long run. And you and I both know Happy. He's a guy that's pretty passive. He's a guy that usually goes for the long term. So I think he kind of knows the situation he's in right now. Just take care of the truck, take care of the tires, and, you know, have something left in the tank if Wilder does get to him. That's obviously the goal. I think Happy's done a good job just being patient right now. And, you know, the good thing is, you know, Happy doesn't really have anybody to fight right now. There's a good chance that Travis George could get to Sean Wilder, and if that's the case, I think that's just going to solidify the win for Happy, barring any late race drama.
Well, even through 3 and 4 there, Happy able to build the gap out over a tenth. He was now up to a 1.3 gap with 11 laps remaining here from Homestead. So that long run speed definitely playing a factor. Like you said, the conservative nature of the 52 of Happy Happick. He is able to make it work for him as the late run goes on and on. He saves the tires. He is able to keep the truck in good working order, and he should, barring any cautions, be able to pull away with a win here in the finale of the Truck Series this season.
Yeah, and what a way to end the season, right? If he is able to walk away with the win in this one, again, he's already locked in. He's already the championship here in the chase, or the champion in the chase, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, what a statement that would be to come out here and win the final race of the season.
Taking a look through the field, looks like we have a couple of battles going on. Seabolt and Dayhoff, they're in close proximity. Seabolt holds the position for now. That would be one to watch for the 4th position. Those guys both in the top 5, though, and a good day for both of those drivers. Finishing where they started if they were to finish right now. The other one is Bryce Tucker. He's got Kufel chasing him down as well. Nothing super close right now, but battles to watch as we round out the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, definitely far from over here for these guys. Still some racing left, and as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, there's still point races going on. Even though the champion is locked in, we still got some battling here for 2nd and 3rd place, and even some spots midway through the pack as well. So some of these guys are definitely not done racing, and they're going to go for every ounce of points they can get here.
Kind of taking a look here at the battle for 2nd. Again, Wilder still has that advantage, but we saw Travis George reel him in at the end of that first stint in this 3rd and final stage, and that gap now is underneath of a 2nd, so the draft's going to start to play a factor as Travis George starts to reel him in.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if George is going to be able to get to the 99 of Sean Wilder. Again, that's another driver who is battling for the 2nd place points position here. Travis George and Bryce Tucker trying to solidify their spot here in the 2nd place position, trying to get a podium finish here. Well, I guess technically either way they both should get a podium finish, but yeah, I mean, either way, 2nd definitely looks a lot better than 3rd, and that's what they're fighting for right now. So I think Travis George may have it if he gets a finish where he's at right now. We'll have to crunch the numbers and really see, but Travis George has definitely done a good job here with damage control after the race that he's had tonight.
I would really attribute that to the end of stage 1, that battle back from the back of the pack after getting the spin. If he doesn't take tires there and doesn't get that top 5 in the first stage, we could be talking about a different situation there for P2 in the points. You know, Tucker got good stage points in the first stage, and I believe he did okay in stage 3, only getting a couple, I think. Or stage 2, rather, excuse me, only getting a couple of points. But realistically, it comes down to that challenge in the first stage there for the 16.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we were kind of questioning how that call was going to work, but I mean, he does exactly that. He makes it work, and I mean, more props to him, man. That's a hell of a way to come back from. I mean, he gets spun early, and takes the tires early. You know, kind of not really left with much of a choice, and still able to bounce back and get a top 5 finish here in stage 1, and still be able to hold on to a great finish in stage 2 as well. So a hell of a job there by Travis George, and he's had a hell of a season. He's had some unfortunate luck, but all in all, it's all a testament to how good of a driver that he is. And I mean, I'm more than pleased to see him up front, and you know, if he does come away with a 2nd place finish, man, it's definitely well deserved.
The battle for 4th is on. Seabolt and Dayhoff, they were trading it back and forth down the front straight. Now they're coming down the back straightaway, and Seabolt still holds it. We'll see if Dayhoff has anything for him. The other one to look at, Mike Kufel actually fell back a couple of positions. He lost one to his teammate Chris Weiniger, and now he's also lost one to Kean Fry. Mike Kufel now sitting in P9, a couple of positions. Again, he had a lot of damage earlier on, so the fact that he was able to even come back to where he was at that point is still a really good testament.
No, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's got to be said, man. You know, as this race comes to a close, the amount of improvement that we've seen from all of our drivers this season has been absolutely incredible. I heard you guys talking about it on the broadcast, but just the amount of parity that we've had, the amount of different winners, I mean, just everything. I mean, I don't think that we could have asked for a better season with how things have gone thus far. And I know Sean coming into this season, he's been grinding it out, and I don't know that he would have told you that he thought he would have won, but with the amount of guys that we have in this field, we had some really stacked drivers here, and I'm really happy for Happy, no pun intended there, because I know how much work he's put into it. But I know I've mentioned it before. I've got to give a huge shout out to Mike and Chris and Travis and all the guys over at K&W as well. I think it's easily said that they have put in the most work. At least they've been the most forward about it. So it's been a blast to watch, man. And even you, the improvement that you've had over the season, and just a huge shout out again for swapping out the steering wheel for the microphone tonight, and glad to have you on board. But Sean Happick gonna round out turn number 4 here one last time in season 2 of High Velocity Racing, crosses the finish line. Sean Happick makes a statement and wins the final race here in the network in season 2.
Final race in his Truck Series career here at High Velocity Racing League is a win, getting him his 3rd of the season and really capping off his championship season. Congratulations to Sean Happick.
Yeah, absolutely. Statement made. I believe that puts Happick, I think it's him and Tucker are now the only drivers to win 3 this season. Is that correct?
That is correct. Tucker and Happy, the 2 3-win racers here in the Truck Series. And I know Happy was very pleased with the amount of different winners we had, but let's have this race-winning moment here for Sean Happick as he burns it down in Homestead.
Yeah, definitely well-deserved here. Good to see Happy get this one under his belt. But now, you know what that means for Sean Happick. He is now officially ineligible for the Truck Series this next season. So he's going to be moving up to a little bit more of the big leagues, if you will. But again, Sean Happick doing a great job here, making a statement and really just putting a stamp on the end of the season. So personally, man, again, I'm very, very excited that Happy is able to get it done here and end this thing on a win, man, and see what he's capable of here as we move on forward here in the network with all the great things that we have planned. I couldn't be more excited, man.
Before we get our interviews done, we'll quickly run over the race results. As looking at it, Happy does come home with the win, 2.6 seconds over the number 99 of Sean Wilder. In 3rd place, the number 16 of Travis George. He will cap off a 2nd place finish here in the championship, I believe, pending points. Brandon Dayhoff will come home in 4th in the number 51. And Bryce Tucker actually able to get up and pass Ryan Seabolt for the 5th position. A good 5th place finish after all of the issues that befell the number 7 of Bryce Tucker. In 6th, we've got Ryan Seabolt in the 00. 7th goes to Chris Weiniger in the 53. In 8th, Kean Fry in the number 14. Mike Kufel in the number 9 finishes in 9th. Andre Carvalho rounds out the top 10. And then in 11th place is the number 11 of Frank Zimmel with Corey Moore in the 45. He ends his night 1 lap down after stretching that fuel run out there at the end. He finishes 12th. And then Kyle Rogers in the 27 finishes 13th, and issues for both KT McCann and Bobby Grady as they will finish 14th and 15th respectively.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of calamity out there tonight early on, but all in all, I mean, great race. We saw a lot of battling. We saw a lot of moves being made, slide jobs, people getting their nose chopped. So I wouldn't have this race in any other way. Personally, it was a great one to call, and the first time that we get to work in the booth together, it was an absolute pleasure, and I think it went well. Hopefully, everybody else thinks so as well, but I believe that about puts us time to go ahead and get some guys in the booth for some post-race interviews. We will double check and start here, and I'll let you go ahead and take it away. I got Travis George in the booth here, comes away with a P3.
Yeah, Travis, you come home third tonight. Looks like you're going to be able to secure that second place position in the chase. How you feeling after that 95 lap race here at Homestead?
I feel pretty good. Felt good to be able to come back from that little bit of an incident starting early. Just figured take tires early and maybe I'll be able to make some spots up, get some stage points, which worked out.
Yeah, I was going to say we were kind of attributing that run there at the end of the first stage to the reason why you're able to secure it. I mean, you came back from, I think it was 13th or 14th after the spin and getting those tires all the way back up to P5. Talk me through all that battling that you did in the back of the field to try to get back up to the top 5.
It was kind of hard because in a way the tires were so good that you were just going to run everybody over. So you had to be conservative in a way that you weren't going to take anyone out, including yourself, and try and make the right moves at the right time.
And then you come home with a good second stage as well, and we thought you might have a chance at trying to get to Wilder. How did you feel on the long run? Did you feel better on the long run or the short run?
I almost felt better on the long run. The short runs, it seemed like it wasn't really, I don't know, I couldn't push it as hard. But towards that second stage end, it was like I was getting Wilder, and then I kind of messed up and I had not enough tire to get back around them again for the stage. Or I guess before the pit stop.
Yeah, so you got one win this season, and I'm assuming you're going to try to make it back here for season 3. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I want to try and come back again. I don't know how active I'll be because I got some stuff coming up with trips and whatnot through the family, so I'm hoping I can pull it off again. I missed 3 races this year and somehow managed to pull off second, so
that's always a good thing. So, all right, well, we will quickly let you go. Before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, just the league, you guys, everyone that puts in their time out to keep this going every week. My team for all the practice we do and everything. My wife for letting me do it every week, and yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, congratulations on the 3rd place finish tonight and the 2nd place finish, pending points and all that. But you had a decent gap there. But congratulations on the finish this season.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to say congrats to Happy on the championship.
All right. That is the number 16 of Travis George. Coming up next, let's pass it over to you, Bryce, for the number 99 of Sean Wilder.
Yeah,
Hey,
Sean, you had a hell of a race, dude. You and Sean there had some good battles there, and talk to us there about that last final stint there. It looks like Happy was kind of able to get a good lead on you and Travis, and then after the pit stops, you were within about a second of him, and he's just able to pull away. So you were definitely quick on the long run, or excuse me, on the short run. But it looks like the long run, you weren't just able to put it together there. Talk to us about how things kind of unfolded there in that third and final stage.
Yeah, like I came in kind of hot into the pit, so I thought I was gonna make up some ground, and I was just talking to Sean. He said I made up a little bit, but I kind of slid through my pit box too a little bit. Had to back her up, and I think I may came out right next to him or hopefully in front of him if I didn't make that mistake. And then yeah, like we were just talking, like at the very beginning, I was able to get right up to him within pretty close to him, a couple tenths. But I think I was pushing too hard, tires too hot, and I was getting a little more loose too. So I could tell I was just getting on the gas a little too early and pushing a little too hard probably.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be said the amount of battling that you, Happy, Travis George, and even at times Brandon Dayhoff got involved as well. It was fun
Hmm.
to watch up here in the booth, but how stressful was that behind the cockpit with having to battle with those 3 or 4 drivers there?
Yeah, Brandon was fast too, man. Travis, like I said, once I got out front, I felt good. But yeah, it was pretty straight. I was trying to catch Sean. I think I was just pushing too hard. And then Travis comes up behind me, and then there was Dayhoff was on alongside of me a couple times. So yeah, it was fun to battle with those guys, and yeah, it's just a good race to end the season. Good season. I learned a lot. Had some speed at some times, but definitely got frustrated at other times. And if I, it came out good into the race. I mean, a good into the season, finishing second here behind Sean.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And got to be said that we obviously appreciate your participation and your support, and it was a blast to watch. So congrats again on the P2. But before we let you go officially, is there anything you want to, or anybody you want to shout out, or anything you want to bring up here before we let you go?
Of course, congrats to Happy, and I appreciate him, doing all this stuff that he does behind the scenes. You guys, Chase, Bryce, Kern, I know Chris and Mike do the truck, the truck operations, I would say, and just all you guys appreciate it. And yeah, it was a fun season. Like I said, I learned a lot, and it's a great place to race, guys. If you guys are listening for the first time, good place to race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate it, man. Again, congrats on your P2 finish. But now, the man that we have all been waiting for, the number 52 of Sean Happy Happick, seals the deal here in Miami, even though it was already locked. You make a statement here, finishing the last race of the season with a victory. Talk to us, man. How does it feel?
Awesome. This is awesome. Come through that. I've been in a little drought. Haven't won the Dover, then the first race of the chase. Really just lucked into Talladega. Let's be honest with that. With them green white checkers, ended under caution. Then really, I haven't been performing the rest of the season, the remaining of the chase. So it was nice to actually put some practice in this week. Um, Let me explain to everybody that's listening, because I didn't really throw much practice in during the chase race. Just didn't have time, and it showed. So, and I finally was able to get in quite a bit of practice this week. So, seat time definitely pays off, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of mentioned a drought there, but maybe a drought for Victory Lane. But I think your season is kind of a season that most people should try to go after. I mean, you had a couple wins, but your season was very gritty. It wasn't very flashy. I think we could all agree on that. I mean, again, yeah, you do finish with 3 wins, but in all, you just made sure you were there in the points, and it paid off for you. So, just talking about it with Chase here, I know that you've been racing here for quite a while, and obviously this is in part our own thing. So I know it feels good to get a race win under your belt, let alone a championship win. So I just want to say, man, personally, I'm happy for you. I know you already had it locked in, but I think it's absolutely kick ass that you come in here and you seal the deal and get the win on the final race of the season. So with that being said, man, again, congrats to you, and I'll pass it off to Chase and see if he has anything for you.
Yeah, I do. Talladega should have gone I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Happy. Congratulations, Happy. We always joke about how different Talladega would have been if we'd gone another mile before that caution came out. But overall, really, I mean, I couldn't be happier for you. You did a hell of a job tonight. You battled with Wilder in the second stage, tracked him down, and then here in this third stage, you just got out front and never looked back. I mean, talk me through how your mindset was when you got out front at the beginning of the third stage.
Well, first, let's talk about practice. I felt like I had a good line. I felt like everything was going good. I felt like I knew what the tires were going to do and the wear on the tires. But then, or my own personal practice. Then we get into practice session, and I'm not. The times was kind of worrying me because I'm like 11th, 9th, and fastest. So then qualify happens, and I did not have a good qualify lap. First 10 laps, everybody was fast. I was really surprised how almost off pace I was, but I guess my specialty is just kind of saving tires. I don't even know how I do it or what I do. It just happens to work out that way. So it gave me a little confidence when I was able to catch Wilder. He was kind of running away from everybody, and then for me to be able to catch him down going into that second stage, I was able to give myself a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to just the consistency overall. I mean, you have been Mr. Consistent all season long. There's a reason why I've, akin you to Mark Martin, how he was always Mr. Consistent. You know, consistency plays a factor in a season long championship, but you've been very critical of yourself through the chase. I didn't never see it that way because you always found a way to find yourself in the top 10, top 5. Stop being so damn hard on yourself, Happy. Jeez, you had a heck of a season, man.
No, I'm more proud of these guys, to be honest with you. I don't think I did much worse. I just think everybody else got a lot better. Like, I could see the improvement from everybody. While I was not practicing as much, I think they were putting into practice. there was a bunch of guys that were just got so much better over the course of 4 or 5 races. It was crazy.
Yeah, and tonight, I mean, it culminates in the victory. This is your third race win of the season. You've talked for the last few weeks about, oh man, I really feel like I should have won 3 in order to win this championship. Well, now you did it. How you feel? How do you feel knowing you got that third win under your belt? And not only did you win the championship, the regular season championship, you knocked yourself out with the 3 race wins. Talk to me about that.
I love the wins. Be honest with you, none of them were one that I would have picked at the start of the season. Not a single one of these. I mean, I'm okay at Homestead. Um, Not a huge fan of it. I mean, I like it. Dover definitely wasn't on my radar. Then you know how Talladega is. I normally don't have super speedway luck, so those were not the ones I had circled. But I think that's just how it works sometimes. So, but I want to give a shout out to everybody in this league, with you, Bryce, Will with the race control. I mean, all the admins, um, and definitely all the drivers that's stuck it out. And we've had into the 20s all except this race all season long. So I just want to thank everybody, and I hope to see everybody that wants to be back, and we'll reset it. Let's see who's next up.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going into season 3 now. Congratulations, Happy. Anybody else you want to? I know you kind of just shouted everybody out, but anybody else you want to shout out?
Oh, well, Bryce for this nice paint job he made me. Now I'm going to have to retire this truck, so I guess it's going to win, and I'll just have to park it in the garage, I guess.
Hey, 100% win rate. Sounds pretty
It is,
good.
man. I love it. I love the paint job. I appreciate it. But no, that's it. I just want to appreciate all the drivers in the league. They've been great, really respectful. Appreciate the shout outs, man. It's been great racing with all of them.
All right. Well, thank you, Happy. Thank you for putting on this wonderful league that we're all a part of. And thank you, like you said, to all the drivers, everybody. I've raced with these guys for 19, now 20 weeks. And it was a blast all the way from Daytona to here. So thank you to everybody that we raced with this season. I appreciate all of you, and happy with all the growth that everybody saw throughout the course of the season. So, well, that's going to do it, though, Bryce. 95 laps in the book. A second season of the Truck Series here is taken care of. And all we got really left now is some recruitment races for Season 3 in the trucks. We've got the Gen 6 going to be doing some recruiting as well here pretty soon, as well as the ARCA Series starting up in just a handful of weeks. And also our Premier Series, which is continuing on into the playoffs starting this week on Friday at Talladega. So a lot of going on here at High Velocity Racing League and the High Velocity Racing Network, and we look forward to everything that the broadcasts bring us.
Yeah, it's definitely it's been one hell of a season to call. I'm definitely gonna miss calling the trucks if I don't get to continue to do so. But yeah, man, it's been a blast, and even though the truck series is over, we still have a lot of racing to be done throughout the course of the network. So, again, as Chase mentioned, just stay tuned, and there'll be plenty more to come where this all started. So, again, thanks to all the drivers for showing up, all the admins for all their work, and of course, thank you to all the fans and all the viewers for the support. And we look forward to seeing you guys on Friday and seeing you guys a little bit later on with some more racing. So. It's been a blast, and like I said, we can't thank everybody enough. So I think that is going to do it for the broadcast tonight. And with that being said, it is time for the signature.